Welcome to Monks. My name is Colin. It's very, awesome to have such a big crowd here tonight for this sold-out show for this mission. If this is your first time here to Monks, we are very much a listening room venue. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of places to go to in Austin to talk over a band, but here at Monks, we just ask that you respect the whisper policy so that everybody in the room and everybody tuning in online can really, hear the show and dig into the music and enjoy it to its fullest. We also ask for this live taping, if you could please silence your cell phones, just put them in airplane mode or what have you, just so we don't have any ringers or alarms or anything like that. This is really kind of a big step in my mind. We started Monks all the way back in 2016 as a pop-up listening room, but when the pandemic hit in 2020, we were able to partner with the Austin Jazz Society for every Tuesday night series supporting musicians out of work, and we were able to raise over $140,000 for musicians in Austin that could not gig out in the world. And once everybody was able to play again, we took a little hiatus, and we started brainstorming again of what we could do to feature more music, and maybe what nights were kind of slow we could put our efforts together. And Wednesdays have just kind of always been slow industry-wide for concert spaces and music venues and stuff, so we came up with this Midweek at Monks series. We've been doing it since last fall, and we're going to keep it going, but we're really excited tonight to feature their new project, which is the Youth Jazz Orchestra. And I would like you guys to give a big, warm welcome to your host for tonight, Rabbi Neil Blumoff.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's okay. Good. I just want to mention how special Colin is and how wonderful Monks is in the culture of Austin. He was resolute through some of the most challenging times to make sure that we heard live music and jazz especially. And I think the two great tastes that go great together are jazz and the idea of legacy and tradition. So we really, really appreciate and are excited, and I've been honored by the Austin Jazz Society to come out and speak at you for just not too long, but because we want to hear the music and celebrate our kids. I'm curious, how many of you in the audience or online, you can give us a thumbs up, you can give us some thumbs up here too, are parents of some of the kids in the band? All right, beautiful, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, my younger days, I lived in New Orleans, and I used to go to a place called Caldy's Coffee House and hear the students of Ellis Marcellus play. And that's where I saw Brian Blade for the first time and Nicholas Payton. So I think tonight, who knows who we're going to see and we're going to follow for the generations to come, who are going to be leaders in the industry of jazz. So we're very, very excited. This is also a fundraiser. I don't know if you knew that or not. So let's just get that done now. I guess the goal was $140,000. Is that what we decided? Or was that from, I don't know. But if friends, I know we're here, and I just want to mention all of that as well. But a little bit about the Austin Youth Jazz Orchestra. It is a recent creation. It's been a long-term goal of the Austin Jazz Society to bring it forward. And with the entry of Diego Rivera into Austin, it became possible. Dr. Rivera is the new director of jazz studies at UT. We can give him that's great. So we're going to hear more from him, too. The Austin Jazz Orchestra was launched back in the fall of 2022, so it's just birthing right now, and began rehearsals just a couple months ago. Was that right, February? Okay, awesome. So this is a place where youth from Austin area can come and have a comprehensive experience to learn and share, which is very important to me, the values of jazz, including multiple concert cycles and jazz, the values of swing, the blues and jazz culture and tradition as fundamental principles of the music. The faculty mentors who you're going to meet this evening are all professional jazz musicians and experienced educators with individual focus on all of the instruments that you can imagine. And the students meet weekly and experience studio, combo, and big band instruction. How's it going so far, y'all? It's okay? All right. A couple people like it. That's great. I love that. So you can check out the Austin Jazz Society on the web and click on the Youth Jazz tab. So I want to talk about the fundraiser, and we know we had some people who are early adopters who already gave. So we're going to try something really cool here at Monks. I'm going to talk, and you're going to see some of the folks online, if you're live streaming, people who have already given. So that's the cue to do that. But here, there's a tuition for the students to become part of the Austin Youth Jazz Orchestra, AYJO, or AJO. And it's offset by sponsors and donations through fundraisers like this one. So I can say that, but it'd be amazing if online and other things, you can do it. The price point of getting your name on the screen and feeling really, really extra swaggery is to donate $100 or more. That's not bad. The drinks here already a lot. But so $100 or more, and you can be recognized for on now and on the back end of the stream as well. And we really appreciate all who are supporting this project. And you can go to austinjazzsociety.org to donate, austinjazzsociety.org. You'll see a button, it's a thing, you'll figure it out. If you can't, you'll text me, and we'll work it out for you. And you'll see the donate page for AYJO, and every little bit helps. So if $100 is a little bit much, you can come up with a little bit less or a little bit more, and we're all gonna be in it together. So there is a goal, but I think the goal is educating our kids. So is that all right? I could tell you a goal, and we're gonna make it, we're not gonna make it. But look at these kids, the young adults, sorry. It's really amazing. And there's a really important thing about jazz musicians or anybody who's a little bit more established in their career, who kind of look and maybe have had some great accolades, have maybe found themselves traveling or all over the world are successful. But certainly, inevitably, somebody will say, well, what really is my influence and how can I be remembered? And I'm just going to say this one thing, but because Rabbi Jazz. So the book of Proverbs, can I do that real quick? Oh man, the people are scowling at me. The book of Proverbs says that the way that you recognize you may have had a successful life is not necessarily by what your children turn out to be, but what your grandchildren turn out to be. So I think that the fact that we're putting our money where our mouth is and we're doing this is really, really great. And we give honor to each of you and your parents and community, and especially our teachers as well. So the leader of all of this in this moment is Diego Rivera. He is an amazing arranger, educator, composer, obviously musician. He's been hanging out for 20 years in the jazz scene and serves, as I said, as director of jazz studies at the Butler School of Music, University of Texas at Austin. There you go. So he was born, let me see if I can do this for a second. Can you hold that for a second? Thanks. Right there, Ann Arbor, Michigan. And then he was raised, hold on. East Lansing, Michigan. Okay, thank you, man, I appreciate that. We did that in rehearsal and it worked out really well. He went to Michigan State University where he studied with Branford Marcellus, Andrew Spite, Ron Blake, and Rodney Whitaker, among others. In 1999, he began his professional and touring career with the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra on their Big Band 99 tour. And since then, he's performed concerts in some of the most prestigious venues and festivals across, really, the world, okay? So he's a passionate educator, and he's presented master classes at schools and universities all around the United States and abroad. This is pretty cool. In 2019, he was awarded the Dorotha J. and John D. Withrow Teaching Award, Michigan State University's highest honor for excellence in teaching and scholarly achievement at the College of Music. Go Spartans. That's a Michigan State. So he also has had many years involved with youth jazz initiatives, and as many of his ensembles and students have won awards and recognitions at jazz events and festivals. So let's enjoy a beautiful evening. We're going to call him up in just a second. Don't forget it's a fundraiser. Let's support these kids and the kids of these kids and make jazz not an add-on, but an essential aspect of all things Austin as we care about our city passionately. This is an important way that we do so. So let us give our great gratitude to the Austin Youth Jazz Orchestra led by Diego Rivera, and he's going to take it from here, and I'll be back to tell you that it's a fundraiser a little bit later.
Thank you all very much. How we doing? Is it? Oh, it is on. How we doing? I'll take it for a Wednesday, but we'll try to do a little bit better as it gets going. Believe me, there's going to be plenty to cheer about. There's plenty to cheer about now. Thank you all for coming out. We are the Austin Youth Jazz Orchestra, and we're very, very excited to be performing for you this evening as a part of this fundraiser. You know, this has been I had a meeting, maybe the first couple weeks of me landing here in Austin, and I met with a gentleman by the name of Tom Van Tassel, who many of you know and has been a big asset to the community here, to jazz, and was very passionate about starting a program like this. And we hashed it out over a plate of huevos rancheros, and came up with the kind of the nucleus of the idea that would eventually turn into what it is that you're going to be hearing this evening. A lot of things we spoke passionately about, the importance of educating the youth, the importance of, asking questions that not only our children would answer, not even us would answer, but our grandchildren would answer, that generations later would answer. And, it's been an incredible 12 weeks because a lot of those questions have been answered even into this first cycle. One of those questions is, can you get young people to love jazz? And yeah, you can. And I think the reason is because all of the faculty members, all the faculty mentors and the community, you can tell that they love jazz. And the kids love us. So that's where they come to it. So the support that you give to them is returned tenfold. you know, anyone with kids knows that, you know, at the beginning, you know, kids take a lot more love than they give. But they learn to give by seeing us. They learn to give by us, you know, turning in a full day of work and still getting in the car and, you know, driving them around to sports, driving around to music, because, you know, we know certain things about this experience that they may not know maybe even years later. But, you know, make no mistake about it, you know, we are starting something, and this is going to be an incredibly important time in their lives. Normally, you know, you would wait for maybe a couple years for kids to kind of come around full circle and be like, man, that was an incredible time. I remember being in this jazz orchestra. The wonderful thing, and the thing that's been a pleasant surprise, is that they realize that now. And it's because not only are you looking and listening to an ensemble of incredible musicians, but there are really, really exceptional people in this ensemble, and they deserve a round of applause. It takes a lot of courage and to join something that wasn't in existence the year before, and they did so with absolute vigor, and they did absolute, you know, commitment to wanting to make this good. We decided, you know, I think we talked even on the first day. We said, let's make the decision now to be a good band. Let's make the decision now, right now, to this day, and they have made good on that promise. Every day they've come to rehearsal. Every evening, Wednesday evening, they've come to rehearsal excited. They've come to rehearsal with resolve, interest, love for the music, but also just a supportive spirit to one another. And, you know, a lot is said. You know, kids, I think, sometimes they get a bad rap. You know, they're not this, or what do they say? They say, well, you know, or what is the thing we all like to say? Well, in my day, right? You know, but the thing is that I don't think there's ever been a time, you know, in our history where these kids have had to deal with so much. The world is so complex and so complicated. And it's really inspiring because these kids still persevere and still find excellence in the midst of sometimes a really, really weird and strange world. So that first composition was composed a little bit later in his career. It's composed by the great Duke Ellington. And it's entitled Second Line. It's part of a New Orleans suite that he wrote as a tribute to New Orleans. Duke Ellington had two major obsessions in his life. One was the blues, the other was the city of New Orleans. And if you notice in a lot of Duke Ellington's early music, whereas most saxophone sections and most jazz orchestras had 5 saxophones at the front, Duke Ellington always had an exceptional clarinetist as a part of his reed section. And if you are familiar at all with the music of New Orleans music, the front line of a New Orleans band is clarinet, trumpet, and trombone. So his concept really isn't necessarily big band as much as it is carrying the spirit and an expansion of the New Orleans sound. And that's something that he never lost. And I think that's one of the things that gives Duke Ellington his signature sound. It just sounds like a celebration. Every Duke Ellington composition in some way, shape, or form sounds like Mardi Gras and the second line and a party and everything. So we're going to continue with this, but before that, on that we heard from Mr. August Martin on the clarinet. Good. On tenor saxophone, Akila Pishupati. Mr. Carson Lyle on the drums and cymbals. And one of our faculty members taking us down, carrying the spirit of New Orleans and Louis Armstrong and everything we love and hold dear about the music, Dr. Michael Saylors. So we're going to stick with the Ellington theme, and Ellington was blessed with having a number of absolutely outstanding bass players, and along with his compatriot, or his colleague rather, the great Count Basie, kind of defined the way that rhythm sections would play. even today, we're still trying to emulate and assimilate and build on the foundation that they built. So we'd like to feature our own foundation. We're going to give Mr. Franklin Vinderlid the keys to the car. If all my metaphors are going to be for teenagers, right? Keys to the car, all this sort of thing. Curfew, staying out late, pizza. Just get ready, strap in, y'all. So we truly hope you enjoy this next composition entitled Jack the Bear.
Let's go, Franklin. Let's do it.
One, two, oh, 2, 3. That's Franklin Vinderlid on the bass violin. August Martin, one more time on the clarinet. It's Nicholas Flemings on the baritone saxophone. Keegan Ballard on the trombone. So we're gonna switch gears. Y'all having a good time? So we're gonna switch gears for a moment and go over to Kansas City. And like so many towns across America, after the Great Depression, the 30s were an incredibly hard time for a lot of cities in America. Still kind of feeling the effects of the economic disaster. And Kansas City seemed to be immune from those effects or the fallout. And what this did is this allowed for economic growth, and it allowed for a lot of clubs to stay open and for a lot of places people had disposable income, regardless of the means in which they attained that income. I mean, Kansas City, for being an incredibly vibrant and flourishing town, it was also incredibly corrupt. But that's neither here nor there. The music was flourishing, and we kind of turned a blind eye to. I mean, it's over, right? Right? Why dwell on the past? In any event, so Kansas City had these number of clubs and a number of bands could go and find work, and musicians were working all the time. And so if you were walking down the street in Kansas City, you weren't just walking down the street. You were just overwhelmed with all these different sounds, all of these bands. And so you wouldn't just simply walk down the street, but you would have a little shimmy to your step when you would walk down the street. I mean, it was just, the music was so good, and people were so happy to play, and there was just so much life and energy in the bands. You just had to, you had a swagger. So this next composition is actually penned by the great Benny Carter, and it was composed for the for the Count Basie Orchestra, and it was a tribute to that feeling that one gets walking down the street and just, being helpless, listening to all this great music in the city. So we truly hope you enjoy this next composition, simply entitled "The Wiggle Walk." sir. That's Ross Margitza, one of our faculty mentors.
Next one's Lord Darwin, right?
Michael Salas on the tenor saxophone. Once again, Keegan Ballard on the trombone. And filling in, the only thing about, hosting a youth orchestra, a youth program, really in general, anything that has to do with young people, as I found out, moving my entire family from one germ pool to another, getting used to, having our immune systems kind of like getting used to this, is that inevitably, somebody's going to get sick. And, unfortunately, we've had a couple of members out sick, and we wish them, a speedy recovery. They were really disappointed that they weren't able to make it, but we're thinking of them, and we love them. Also, students are just incredibly busy, and we have a couple of students that serve in leadership positions back at their school, and they waited until the 11th hour to make a decision because it was really tough on them. And I try to stay out of it, and I'm a public school kid myself, and I believe that these students are incredibly busy, but they also take their responsibilities and their commitments very, very seriously. So we had to excuse a couple students, but we were able to welcome in a couple of students that, whenever we would rehearse on Wednesday night, we would always see them kind of like peeking into the rehearsal, and it's kind of like the kid that with the jersey, come on, put me in, coach, put me in, coach. So as coach, I decided to, today was a good opportunity. So please put your hands together for Mr. Centeno Rojas singing on the trumpet. We'll hear from him a little bit later. Mr. Sam Dimov on the trombone. One of the more difficult tasks when working with young people, we do an exercise. There's an exercise I like to do. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit on the instruction, just kind of let you know what we've been doing for the past 12 weeks. Sometimes, we use these very empty words to describe music. And the great pianist, bebop architect, incredible pianist, Thelonious Monk once said, talking about music is like dancing about architecture. And so sometimes, the words don't necessarily, do the music justice. And so as an educator, folks often ask me, says, well, how do you explain jazz? I teach a jazz pedagogy class, or whenever I teach a jazz history class, my first question to the entire class is, Santana, do you remember it? No, he doesn't remember. He passed the final, that's all that matters. But, I asked them, the entire class, what is jazz? I say, what is jazz? Start off with some light fare, right? Just something easy, And so, what is jazz? And most of the time what they'll do is they'll kind of like come up with these elaborate, very, very articulate responses. But the thing is, and then I come up with a follow-up question. I was like, well, is that going to inspire a 12-year-old? What's gonna speak to them? And then they struggle with it. And that's because sometimes, in the academy, we forget why we get into the music. We get into the music because we hear it. So usually I'll just play them some music. Whenever anyone asks me, so what is jazz? I usually go to, my favorite CD, or cats. A CD is a thing like this big, like a hole, all right? Okay.
How do you even play that?
It's a good question. See, thinkers. See, jazz musicians, I don't know. If you have a car from like old time, like the 20th century, man. They used to have CD players inside the car. Can you believe that? Inside the car, cats.
So I can't take it with me?
No, you can't take it with you. No.
Then why even have it?
Because that's how I stay on the road. I sell CDs. And and so you play the music, and so they create kind of an emotional connection to the music, not necessarily a verbal one. And one of the hardest things is to get kids to articulate or really recognize the difference between sadness and romance. I'll say that again, between sadness and romance, right? They're good with like, oh man, this sounds energetic, or this sounds like a party, or this sounds like a fight, or this sounds like a big old party. And then I play them something like Ben Webster playing a tender ballad. They just get a lot of, you know, I don't know, you know. And so, you know, that certain dynamic and that certain aspect, that certain emotion is somewhat elusive. So you have to find ways of skillfully and, you know, tastefully expressing the nuances of romance, or just really like sensitivity. And I think the students did a wonderful job, as exhibited by this next composition. Is a Neil Hefti composition. We truly hope you enjoy our version of Little Darling. That's Topher Meeks on the trumpet. We're going to play one more before we get our MC back up to give a status report. For all of you people out there in the interweb, in cyberspace, on your phones. I'm in your phone right now. I live in your phone. And that's good, right? One of the great things about jazz, really, but specifically about this group is, if you haven't noticed, there are some students in our ensemble that look a little bit older than some of the other students, and myself included. I just keep it short, otherwise it would, I have some salt and pepper going there, It's, my kids are 7 and 9, so I don't know if that had anything to do with the sprouting of more gray hairs, and it's not them, it's all me. It's all, right? It's all me. And the thing is, my kids, I think they're, I don't know, they're getting to know my moods. They're immune to, it's an amazing thing when your kids tell you to calm down. It's like, wait, what? And I said, calm down, we were just gonna go. I was like, wait, no. But in any event, this music is special because it's shared between student and mentor. This isn't necessarily the type of music where students come in and they have a master, or they have a guru, or they have a teacher that they never really interact with. I've spoken with a lot of my students and a lot of friends, really, that grew up playing music and grew up studying music, but never got the opportunity to actually play with their teacher. And I can't imagine playing this music had it not been for those experiences that I shared with my mentors. So, we have mentors who've been playing this music quite a while, and they're able to sit next to and talk to students and demonstrate for them in real time. If you think back to the origins of this music, there was a trumpeter by the name of Joe King Oliver who lived in New Orleans and was, by all accounts, probably one of the best musicians to have ever lived. He was very popular in New Orleans, an exceptional band leader, exceptional entertainer, and an exceptional musician. And, in the 20s, he was able to take his young protege that he had worked with in New Orleans up to Chicago. And they created some of the most exciting and the most sensational music and the most important music that we have ever heard. And that protege was a gentleman by the name of Louis Armstrong. And so right then, the seed was sown that that's how this music is going to be played, that's how it's going to be passed on. It's going to be passed on with students and mentors sitting next to each other, sharing in that experience, sharing in a musical experience. I know that's been my experience. That's been some of my most important experiences, was being able to share the bandstand with some of my mentors and get that real, in the moment training. I had mentors that were pretty direct and, didn't have quite as good or as strong as a filter as I do, but nevertheless, it was, what I always knew was that my dignity was never in question. My dignity was never threatened. What I know of older musicians, and I think I can speak for all the mentors in this organization and in this band, is that if we find young people who are just trying to play, even if you're just trying, you have a special place for us, and we have a special place for you in our hearts. So, having said that, we would like to introduce the youngest member of our ensemble, formerly of a two-person category in the 13-year-old range, but our altoist and clarinetist, August Martin, has turned 14, so he's grown now. So he's grown up. Playing 2 instruments, and but we would like to feature our drummer, Isla Conroe, on this next composition. This one is also a Neil Hefti composition. We truly hope you enjoy our version of Cute. Isla Conroe, drums and cymbals. On that, we also heard from Mr. Johnny Galick on the guitar. Aaron Walls on the alto saxophone. Topher Meeks once again on the trumpet. And Franklin Vinnerlid on the bass violin.
It's Diego Rivera, everybody. Check him out. And your passion shines through, and obviously the recognition that we have mentors and students, and we're not always sure who is who, if we can see the faces of those who are enjoying the music. And we think of the greats, whether it's Duke Ellington or Count Basie or Fletcher Henderson, Chick Webb or Charles Mingus, anyone who would help bring a community together to bring something as ineffable as jazz into something that would remain in our hearts is really important. And those of us who've been here and enjoying this music live have recognized that we've been pulled in because of the applause that we give to all the wonderful soloists, yes? It's pretty great. So please know that audiences are very, very important and crucial to the success of jazz as well. And whether you're here or whether you're on live stream, you have a great opportunity to applaud with your wallet. You can, I got that one. So I hope that you would do that. And we're about halfway to our goal. So we're only gonna help half these kids if you don't bring that other half to the gift. So we really want everybody to be helped. So austinjazzsociety.org, you'll find that website and you can find the homepage for AYJO, Austin Youth Jazz Orchestra. Now, I think jazz is really important too, and we can certainly talk about this, but I think jazz is important because it's a civic good. It's a social responsibility. It teaches all of us, whether we're listening or playing, it teaches us emotional intelligence. It teaches us empathy. Empathy to recognize that you can appreciate somebody else. And I'm enjoying every bit of this. It's really wonderful. And I'll just tell you something else here. This is great. I'm looking at the dynamic between the two drummers of who's playing and who's not playing, and the support even for the one who's sort of sitting out and sort of enjoying. And that to me speaks volumes about things. So I appreciate your maturity in beautiful, beautiful ways. So let's light up this orchestra and allow it to flourish, not just for a few weeks as we've been doing the thing, but let's have it be an institution on jazz. There's other good jazz going on Wednesday nights at the Cactus Cafe. I'm just saying, but let's allow jazz to flourish here at Monk's, and also with the great direction and vision of some extremely beautiful artists in our town. So please give everybody austinjazzsociety.org, and let's see what we can do.
Thank you, thank you. Certainly, this is a really incredible experience. I wish jazz were required reading, was a required activity in all public schools. I think the world would be a lot better off if everybody was a jazz musician. I think so. I mean, not that I want or can afford to take any less work. However, it's an incredible communication tool. We talked about competition at our Longhorn Jazz Festival, and one of the things about competition that's very helpful, and the healthiest thing about competition, is that in order to compete, competition is about recognizing the excellence in your counterpart or in your opponent. It's not about winning. It's about recognizing the excellence, and it's about the competition itself. It's not really about the winning or the losing or that sort of thing. And jazz has that. If you hear a musician play at a certain level, you're like, either I want to play better, or at the very least, I want to play like that. But at first, you have to recognize, you have to acknowledge their excellence. You have to acknowledge their hard work, their dedication, their gift. And we don't recognize each other's gifts nearly enough. You know, people ask, you know, well, how do you find your own voice? You know, is a big thing. Or, you know, everybody has it. Everybody has it. The ones that really, really succeed, just there's something that everybody in this room, there's something that everybody on stage, anybody that picks up an instrument, there's something that you do better than anybody on the planet, probably in history. The great ones just figure out what that is, and they're able to find it and to shape it and craft it and nurture it. So that's what we're helping these students do. We're trying to find what it is that they do better than anybody else, because rest assured, there is something special about every one of these students. There's a lot of these narratives like, your child is not special. I wonder how many of these people actually have children. Children are special. Every single one of them is special. And that's what jazz helps bring out. You know, and you know, I'm doing quite a bit of preaching, but it's something that's very important to me and something I believe in. And you know, I don't want to give the impression that this is really kind of only my doing. You know, I've learned a lot of these sort of things from, you know, and the band sounds this way not necessarily just because of the leadership of a few. It becomes the collective responsibility of some incredible faculty mentors that I'd like to introduce right now. A gentleman that I met when I came to UT. We're both in our first year at UT, the University of Texas, at Austin, Butler School of Music, and I couldn't have asked for a better colleague, for a better musician, for a better friend of spirit. I mean, you name it. He's incredibly gifted as a musician. His talent is surpassed only by his humanity as a person, and he's incredibly giving. He's somewhat new to education, but you would never know it, the way that he interacts with people. So he may be new to education, but he's definitely not new to feelings and new to people and new to just to spirituality. Our drum instructor, Professor Adam Jackson. Let's give him a round of applause. Somebody else that I met only a few weeks into my time here. He's also new to Austin. I believe we both moved to town August, probably late August too, because we didn't complain about the heat like everybody else did. You know, we said, oh, you know, I came from Michigan, so I was like, oh, this is nice. You know, it feels so nice and tight and crispy on the skin. Oh, this is, you know, and everybody that had been here for like 11,100 degree days was like, shut up. Like, you know, go back to Michigan. But, you know, an incredibly accomplished educator, even in the short time that he's been here. He took his band to the Louis Armstrong, correct? Louis Armstrong jazz ensemble competition where he placed first. So he's helping put Austin on the map as a mecca for jazz. He's the director of jazz studies at Huston-Tillotson University, and we became fast friends. It was like I say, it was love at first swing, or a swing at first sight, or whatever you want to call it. We've had an incredibly wonderful time playing music together, getting to know each other, talking about family, talking about music, talking about legacy, and talking about all the wonderful things that we hope to accomplish and bring here to Austin, our new home. So please give a hand to Dr. Jeremy George, our bass instructor. It was mentioned earlier that I've been involved with education, these sort of programs for a number of years. And early on, I was involved with the program in the city of Detroit in collaboration with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. And it was a program similar to this. We started, we were able to field a number of students from Detroit, you know, who were interested in joining a program. We didn't necessarily know what it was going to be. We just knew that we were going to be swinging and that we were going to have a good time, and that it was going to be a place where young people could find their love for jazz and find their place and find a place for themselves in the music. And that first year, we were so fortunate to find or be introduced to this next young man, and he was in our program, and he quickly was a unanimous yes to attend Michigan State University, where I was teaching at the time. I saw him grow over 4 years, and I mean, he was an exceptional musician already, coming in as a freshman. He was an incredible person, came from just a wonderful and a beautiful family, and you know, he went on to do a number of great things. He went to study at other universities, including the University of Texas at Austin here, where he got his doctorate. And I saw him start a family of his own. And you know, and when I moved to town, you know, it was an easy decision on who I wanted to lead the piano chair and be one of the stalwarts of the rhythm section, just because he understands the mission. And if there's no greater endorsement, or if there's a better endorsement of the power of education with young people in jazz and what it can, you know, produce, you know, let me know, because I don't think there is one. He's a new father again, and he's, you know, I'm sure he's nodding off, catching little winks every now and then at the piano, right? But he's definitely waking up to play some piano and swing. And it's just such an honor to be able to teach with him, and I love him so much. How about a hand for Mr. Dr. Ross Margitza on the piano? Gentleman that I met before I actually came here to Austin. You know, we had, you know, I was introduced to my faculty online or over Zoom, as you know, many of us were to a lot of things. And quickly, I wanted everybody's phone number. I wanted to speak with them, and I wanted to talk with them, and you know, get a vibe with them, and create a connection. And the connection with this individual was just immediate. We had probably about a 2-hour phone conversation. It didn't seem that long. We talked about a number of things, you know, and I knew immediately that it was going to be a wonderful experience, and it's lived up to the billing. We've had an opportunity to play music together, to teach together, and you know, his students love him. His students really, really, you know, look up to him. He's an incredible musical example for these students, but also a very, very caring and dedicated and sensitive individual who extends that to his students, and I think his students are the better for it. It's been a pleasure teaching with him at UT. It's been a pleasure working with him here in this organization. Looking forward to many more years. How about for Mr. Paul Deemer on the trombone? And when, shortly after our meeting, I think, you know, the first call that I made was just to this next gentleman. You know, he was a student of mine at Michigan State University, where he did his master's. And he says he couldn't play when he was there. And I don't remember the story quite like that. He remembers that time being kind of tough for him musically. I always thought he sounded good. That's why I don't play the trumpet, and that's why he does, because that shows you what I know about the trumpet. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Saxophone, I don't get it. But in any event, you know, he was, he quickly moved from, he described his time at Michigan State as being transformative, and you know, and when it was time to make a decision on whether or not I would come down here, I mean, I don't know if he knows this, but it was, his presence here was actually a big part of my decision, just because it would be someone that shared the sort of vision of the things that we want to do here, making this not only an incredible environment for jazz music, but an incredible environment for young students to grow and to have this transformative experience. You know, very few people, you know, in education, jazz education specifically, understand or appreciate the time that they get to spend, you know, either 4 years as an undergrad degree or 2 years, you know, in a master's degree. It's precious time. And those of us that have been to college understand that we're never going to get that time back. It's incredible. But he gets it, and you know, he's another one that has a special gift for working with and reaching students. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to work with him. Looking forward, again, to many, many more years to build something incredible. Let's hear it for Dr. Michael Saylors. So we have just a couple more selections for y'all, and this first one, the last of two, is from, all right, thank you. August is my unofficial co-leader. He knows where all the solos are. He has a good memory, you know, so he keeps me, where is like letter D? Okay, well, what about after this? No, that's 2 times, and then we go on. All right, thanks. So just follow August, you'll be all right. So we truly hope you enjoy our version of the 920 special. Thank you very much. The 920 special. So we're going to close the evening with a blues. And we're going to invite up our faculty mentors. Let's hear it for, once again, Mr. Adam Jackson on the drums and cymbals. Dr. Jeremy George on the bass violin. We have a line change. Is hockey a thing in Texas? No? So, all right, so that references, you know, from being from around Detroit, you know, that's hockey town. So, yeah, so. But not recently. When was the last time we had, remember the Stanley Cup, man, those were important years. And I'm a diehard Lions fan. I'm sorry, I think we're going to win it this next year. Let's go. Let's go. You laugh now. Fear the silver and the Honolulu blue. The last time there was a coronation, the Lions won the national football. You know, they won the Super Bowl, man. I'm just saying they won the national championship. So there was just, you know, it's happening. No, it's not false hope. It's called loyalty. It's called I'm a fan. I'm a fanatic. You know. I even suffered through the 0-16 year of the Detroit Lions. That was rough. You know, that professional team lost the highest percentage of all its games. Just think about that. Oh, they didn't win one game. That's rough. That's rough. But we're going to win it next year. So speaking of Detroit, this next composition was penned by a native Detroiter and for the Count Basie Orchestra. We truly hope you enjoy and enjoy everything that we're going to say. We're going to open this up for a little bit. We truly hope you enjoy our version of Blues in Hosses Flat, composed by the great Frank Foster. Yes, indeed. Did you all have a good night? Did you all have a good time tonight? We want to thank you for coming out. It's been not only an incredible night, but it's been an incredible 12 weeks. We're going to miss every one of these students. Some of them are going on to begin their college career, and we certainly hope that y'all take the lessons and take the spirit and take the vibe of what you've learned here forward. You know, this music is a continuum, and we believe in the philosophy of each one teach one. This has been something that we've embraced, and this is something that, I mean, this is the good news of jazz music. The thing is like we need support. We need support to make this happen. If you know of any students, if you know of anybody who wants to get involved in the work that we're doing, we're looking to partner. We're looking to welcome that help. You know, and it's not necessarily just for us in this organization. It's for the city of Austin. Let's make the city of Austin second to none when it comes to the education and the uplifting and the encouragement of our young people. Let's make this the Mecca, and we need your help. I'm going to have any closing thoughts. This is the hippest accompaniment, the hippest background to anything that you want to say.
So we thank our friends at Monks Jazz. Thank you, Colin and team. For the indefatigable folks at the Austin Jazz Society who make dreams come true, thank you very much. To all of the parents who schlep their kids here and there, back again, thank you very much, parents. Come on now. To those who give to help this community succeed in all the great ways that we're speaking of, jazz is an identity, and it's a way of bringing people's hearts forward into the world and seeing people smile as we connect together, as we learn about the great American traditions. Thank you so much for your generous support. We're super, super close to our thing. We can all help with all the kids except one. So bring a little bit more into the spot, and we'll make our goal of $10,000. We're super, super close. So I'm just gonna keep talking until it happens. So friends, thank you very, very much. And may we meet again here and elsewhere for beautiful soul connection together always. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, students. Thank you, mentors. Thank you, everyone. Let's continue to support jazz in this town and around the world. Have a good evening, everyone.